Remember us saying that feminism was a 9-to-5 thing? I feel like we're being very feminist in this episode. Good for
I
us.
think we are. I think this is 9 to 5.
Right. No, not quite. A little past 9 to 5.
It's 5:10 over here, so.
Oh, there you go.
Pretty good.
Welcome back to Romancing the Monsters. I'm Em.
Hi, I'm S.
I'm Seff.
And you're officially welcomed to the grand finale of our Love Between Fairy and Devil discussion. Part 5 is here. Today we're going to discuss episodes 31 to 36. So, of course, there's 4 other parts before this one, so make sure to go and listen to those first. Otherwise, this episode might not make a whole lot of sense to you. Also, before we dive into today's episode, I want to remind people that, friendly reminder, that we obviously are on Apple Podcast, which is a platform that allows you, listener, to leave a rating or a review for the podcast that you listen to. So, if our podcast is a podcast that you would like to do so for, just a reminder that you can do that. You know, like, it's super encouraging and fun and nice to see what people think of our podcast. But if you don't feel comfortable leaving words, you can also just leave a little rating. Also, if you want to leave a comment, the best place to do it is definitely YouTube. You can do so everywhere, of course, but for us, as far as like replying, that's the most convenient place to do it. So, yeah, you can go on there as well. Now, episode 31 of Love Between Fairy and Devil. So, before we dive into this episode, what happens at the end of episode 30, because it kind of ended in the middle of a scene.
At the end of episode 30, towards the end, Devil gets, like, possessed by the evil, what is it, the evil key or whatever it's called.
Yeah. So like the Taisu.
There you go.
Tai-Sui or something. Tai-Sui.
I think so.
He gets possessed, and he starts acting different, and he starts treating Orchid really badly. He's humiliating her. He ends up telling her that he was pretending and that he doesn't love her and that it was just all a plan. What was his plan?
Well, we don't know his whole plan yet.
At that point, right?
We know what he's doing. Like, I mean, I guess we figured it out.
We don't know, because I was still very confused until later on in this episode when he actually, like, it's obvious that he's been doing this for a reason. I still didn't know.
No, but he talked about it with, I think it was Dragon Boy or his brother, that he has to, that for her, in order for the bangles to come off, she has to hate him. That was talked about before.
But we were confused about that last episode, because in fact, yes, it's true that it looked like the Tai-Sui, or whatever his name is, the god, had possessed him, which now is not the case at all.
No.
So, confusion, like, throughout. Until the very end of this episode, I was still confused until, like, he actually stated, like, no, this is why I did that. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, can I just say first that, Seff, you're very, like, I'm scared a little of you, because you sat through the entirety of part 4. And you didn't say shit, and that's scary behavior to me, that you just, like, acted as if you didn't know anything.
On how episode 31 started?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cruel, actually, because I had a fucking meltdown when I started episode 31.
Like, what the fuck is that, honestly?
I told you guys, I can always keep your secrets.
No, but this is actually scary. Like, I'm a little mad, actually, that you just sat there with, like, a poker face, acting as if you know nothing.
I mean, I didn't want to spoil anything. I know you girls haven't seen it yet, so I was just like, I was also probably in denial. I don't know. I just, it was heartbreaking, to be honest.
Anyways, so this episode begins with where the other one left off, which is Shinsong basically throwing away the engagement bracelet that Lanhua
Broke
made
my
for
heart.
him.
It's the way he ripped it off his wrist and threw it at her.
At her feet. That was horrible.
It was just, I didn't like that. I didn't like that.
Yeah, I didn't either.
And I especially don't like that from that point on, we never see that bracelet ever again. I fully was like shouting at my phone, please pick it up. Please pick it up. Please. Please. And nobody does. And that little bracelet is on the floor of his castle. Still to this day, I bet you, 500 years later, nobody has picked it up. Like, just pick it up. She made it for you. It means so much. Like,
I'm certain he goes to his bedroom and cries with it.
yeah.
I'm sure.
Well, he needed to pick it up to be able to do that. He didn't. He did not do it. I'm mad. I was pissed with this man throughout this episode. Let me tell you that much. I'll get to it later. Anyways, actually, I'll get to it now. So you're right that this is the moment where we basically, like, he tells us outright, like, this is why I've been. Yes, he said it before, Seff. Yes, you're right, blah, blah, blah. But we were still confused with the whole possession thing. Here, we're like, actually, sure. Okay, no, he's doing it with an intent behind it. It's his will. He's not being possessed by anyone. He's just being a fucking asshole.
See, this is
on purpose.
I see, like, I was being genuine when I said I didn't know if he was possessed or not. Until I think episode 35. Shut up. Until episode 35, that's when I realized.
You shut up. You are such a good liar. It's actually scary. I don't like it.
No, I was being genuine. I literally did not know if he was possessed or not. I did not realize he wasn't until episode 35 and he was crying on the bridge. That's literally the only time I realized that he wasn't.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, the reason why I was pissed with him, okay, I think I talked about it briefly in the last part. I was like, if this is what he's doing, I'm gonna be mad.
Yeah.
And, like, I am mad, okay, because he is still lying to her at this point. He is manipulating her emotionally. This is emotional manipulation. Like, there's no other way to put it. Like, he has not done or completed the journey that he needs to complete, which I guess there's like 5 more episodes to do it. So, like, okay, I'll give you that much. But I was so pissed because he has made a promise to her. Everything that came before that promise was made, I was okay with, because I was like, fine, you're not there yet. You haven't, like, outright said, like, I am your devoted, forever, confident and lover and partner and blah, 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 like, whatever. I was like, okay, I can excuse a lot of things. But he made a promise, and that promise was monumental between them, okay? It was the kind of deal where it's like, this could break us, and he promised, and he broke his promise, and I was pissed.
I was too, but on the flip side, I see why he did it, and he he believed that was the only way to get her to not love him, not knowing that she'll love him anyway. He's someone that has been, like, emotionally stunted for, like, over 30,000 years. I don't even know how many years he's, not had his feelings, so he doesn't fully grasp that concept and even, like, grasp the idea of love. Like, I feel like at that point he really thought he was being selfless because he didn't want her to die.
But he made that promise, okay? I'll keep forever going back to that, because that promise was all about, I understand that you want to protect me because you love me, and so do I.
Yeah.
I want to do the same thing for you. However, there are good ways to protect someone and bad ways to protect someone. And you going behind my back and manipulating me the way you have been doing since the beginning is going to break it between us. This is not something I can accept. Can you respect me? She literally said that. Do you respect me enough to let me in and let me be your partner and tell me the truth and do this together, because we are a team from this point on until we die? And he said yes. And so there was
I'm scared
no
of Mars
reason
right now.
why there's no reason why he should still go behind her back and on top of that be emotionally manipulative with her, and in order to protect her, to make her not love him because that's the only way. How about you talk to her about it?
Yep.
It's her.
Yep.
It's on her fucking wrist.
I was just playing devil's advocate, but like, no facts.
I know, I get it. It's not. I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at him.
I feel like you are.
No. But you get my point. Like,
Yeah.
I just, everything up until that point, I was okay with. But from this point on, from that promise on, I have a problem. So I was pissed. And he got what he deserved because she died. But anyway, we'll get there.
And he couldn't get to her in time. That was so
Yeah,
sad.
yeah, he got what he deserved. You know what? He got what he deserved. When I saw that scene, that was my thought. You made your bed. That's what happens when you go behind her back.
Yeah.
Had you not done that, you guys working together would have figured it out. But you didn't. You let her die. You are the reason why she died. Thank you. Anyway,
Preach it, Marge.
Preach.
Preach it.
I love him, but you know.
Okay, he wouldn't be him if he didn't make some stupid decisions, okay?
But we've come a long way, though.
It's because I love him that I'm mad at him. Okay.
I know, but like I'm just looking at him and like I guess the lens of like him not fully like understanding emotions yet and not knowing like, you know, he has someone like obviously yes, you know, the idea that she's been with him and like they're gonna be like equals in this, but it's just like
Yeah.
he doesn't he didn't have that. He never had that in his life until he has her and he was just like, I don't want to lose her. So of course, like I see where he's coming from, but like you said, I feel like he disrespected her in the worst way possible.
And it cost her and him everything as a result.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anywho, the war. Well, actually, S, do you have anything to say about that? Are you mad too?
No, yeah, I was mad. I was pissed.
Are we grabbing the pitchforks and riding at dawn?
I'll join you, Marge.
Okay.
Is it another bitch ass Bowen moment or?
Yeah, but yeah,
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what? Yeah, definitely.
So the war begins. The war really just lasts one episode.
2 seconds.
We've literally been awaiting this moment for like 10 episodes at this point. I mean, 30,000 years really, but like 10 episodes. And it's over before like you can even blink,
Well,
pretty much.
I'd like to think it as like not the war. I feel like the big battle was the end, but anyways.
But that wasn't really a battle. It was like a bunch of people against like one.
Okay, but like the way that they all came together, I liked it. It felt more battle-esque than this.
So the war begins,
yeah.
and Lanhua obviously, well, not obviously actually, the brother, Shinsong's brother, whose name I still don't know 31 episodes later, but like, we don't care.
We don't
okay?
care.
He doesn't deserve a name. He's the brother. Anyways, he grabs the sword, right?
He basically like not guilt trips her, but yeah, he kind of does.
Pretty much,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like
pretty
he's
much,
beating her
pretty
while
much.
she's down.
Yeah. This, I hope, was not part of Shinsong's deal with the brother, like the whole
No.
plan that they had going. Like this was his doing on the side. He was like, this is my
That was
opportunity.
him on the side.
If
He
she
was-
kills herself.
He was just supposed to watch Lanhua and make sure she doesn't get
Right.
like hurt or anything. That was his purpose,
Right.
and he
Yeah.
disobeyed his brother.
Yeah. Instead, he grabs Lanhua and they make it to like the top of this like huge sword in the middle
I
of
never
the desert.
thought what
I
thing
think that
is.
that's a reference. We've seen that sword before.
Yeah.
I think, remember in one of the earlier episodes where Shinsong appears in that desert and he's like huge and everyone's small? So I think it's his sword that is just planted in the ground. It's just like, but I don't know.
But I think that's like when the chitty goddess woman, like when she did her thing. So I don't know.
Oh, you think it's hers?
Is that like their normal size? Like that sword would.
I don't know. Can they increase? Can we have a size kink in this world?
I love where your mind
People
goes.
just increase at will.
Ooh, like certain body parts, you think?
Yeah, of course. 'Cause I don't know. I just remember him being really big, and then everyone was small around it. And I was like, why is he so big? And then I feel like I remember a sword but I don't know.
Anyways, logistics, we don't care. Right now, they're on the sword, her and the brother, and she's basically saying, like, like, might as well do this for my guy that I love. I have nothing else going for me, so I'm going to kill myself and release his soldiers so that he could win the war, because this is not a fair fight. And she basically gets kidnapped by the evil lady that works with the Haishi lady and taken to Rong Hao, and he breaks the sword because he doesn't want her to die in that way, because she still has the shitty woman's primordial spirit.
Yeah, I was real confused about that, because one second he says, oh, now's not the time for you to die, and he takes away the sword, but then the next second he's basically torturing her to the point where it looks like she might die. So I was like, yeah, not sure what you're trying to do here, but it sounds like you're doing exactly what you said you didn't want to do 5 seconds earlier.
I think it's he doesn't want her to die by the sword, because that would mean Shinsong's soldiers are free. And that way I think his goddess person will be gone. But if he kills her without the sword, I think he thinks the shitty woman's primordial spirit will take over the body. That's how I perceived it, but I might have been wrong.
So I need someone to explain to me what, because Shinsong, obviously, he goes off his separate way. He's like, I can figure out how to revive my soldiers, like, again, for the 10 millionth time. He thinks he knows what to do. And he appears on top of that same sword. And I need someone to explain to me what he was trying to do with, like, when he has his sword out and he's full of, like, the like, shadow-looking thing, the evil spirit around it, and, like, he's just pointing it, and I was very confused.
This is why you don't believe me, but this is why I'm like, I don't know. Was he possessed or was he not possessed? Unless he tapped, like, he really could control the evil key or whatever, and that was him controlling it. But anyways, he's doing that, but then he starts feeling Landqua's pain, and he's like, oh shit, something's going down, and this man's sprinting in the desert. He's, like, calling her name as she's, like, getting tortured, and
Changhong appears.
Yes.
On their side of things, and basically attacks Ron Hao on sight, which I was like, thank you.
I know.
And the two of them kind of, like, go off their separate way, like, fighting and stuff, and Lanhua is kind of left by herself, and, like, she's crawling towards the sword. She's, obviously in pain and stuff, so it's taking a while for her to crawl, and like you said, Shinsong is, like, walking through the desert at the same time, like, screaming her name.
And he's feeling her pain, which is why he's not getting there any quicker.
Yeah. I feel so bad for Diane. This girl has died how many times at this point? She died right there on the battlefield, and I was like, wow. And every single one of her deaths were really sad. Just like, oops, sorry. Like, she literally turned around, and that was it. She got impaled by a sword. Like, goodbye.
Poor girl.
I was like, oh my god. Rough life, honestly. I feel bad for the girl. But anyways, so... Oh, I had a note about costuming in this episode, because I thought it was really interesting how all our main characters, well, mainly the main male characters, so Shinsong, Changhong, and then Ron Hao, all arrive on the battlefield, and they have their, like, warrior look, where it's like they're, like, war attire that's, like, imposing and clearly, like, tells you their status and who they are, and that they're important, powerful people. And I thought it was really interesting how, as the episode kind of progressed, all three of them started losing pieces of it. I think Ron Hao and maybe Changhong loses his first, and then Ron Hao takes off his mask, and then later on it's Shinsong that, like, again, like, he loses the imposing attire, and he's just left as like his regular self. And I just thought that that was really interesting, because it's kind of like this fight is too personal for them to be able to hide behind the status of who they are. You know what I mean? Like, they all like to pretend that they're on this battlefield for a grand reason and blah, blah, blah. But the truth is, they're all fighting this war for very personal reasons. So I just thought it was really interesting that they try to hide, but that's taken away, and ultimately they kind of have to face each other as they're fighting each other. It's kind of like, no, you're not fighting just any war general. You're fighting your best friend, who you are used to be your best friend. And for Shinsong, it's like, no, you're not just the Moon Supreme. You are that woman's lover, and you betrayed her. And now here you are crawling through the desert trying to make it to her. You know what I mean? And, you know, I really love that little detail with the costume, and of just like, take it away. Take it away.
No, because what they're all fighting for is they're fighting for their like a woman. Like, you know, Ronghao's fighting for the chitty woman. Shinsong is, you know, fighting to find his woman because she's like, you know, dying in the sand. And, you know, Changhong is basically like, oh my gosh, she can't die. And yeah, it's just like it became really personal, that their fight.
Yeah. So we flip back to Lan Hua as she's trying to make her way. But she has a bit of a flashback here, which is a very interesting moment. It's a moment with her her master, and the master says love is the only thing that isn't fate, which I thought was a very interesting thing, because so everything else is, but love is not something that's destined, I guess, is what she's trying to say. So I was just wondering, like, what are your takes about that? Like, what do you think she means by that? Like, love is a choice, basically, or fate is the only thing that's capable of defying, love is the only thing that's capable of defying fate, of changing someone's fate. I don't know. What did you have any thoughts when she said that? Like, did you... And why in this precise moment? Because I think that was placed there for a reason. Because I believe at that moment she's kind of lost a lot of her energy, and she's not moving anymore. She's not crawling towards the sword anymore. And I think Shinsong has also like kind of fallen. So why?
I think for me in this moment, I think I more so looked at it as like, we keep saying, or at least I keep saying, like, she's fated to be with Changhong, and now we know that love is something that is not in someone's destiny. It's foretold. Like, it's a choice. And she chose Shinsong, and that's her love, and that's her soulmate. Whereas, you know, Changhong, like, you think from the beginning that's going to be her soulmate because that's who she's fated to marry. But that was never the case.
I also think it works for Shinsong, because I would agree that I think this means love is a choice. And I think Shinsong didn't choose love. He chose obsession, which is very different. And I think that does come back for him later on, where he has to make the choice to love, not obsess. So yeah, I think, I don't know. And obviously this does come back towards the end, like the whole love is the only thing that can, you know, that isn't fate. Okay, so we're in agreement on that front.
Yeah.
So she does kill herself.
Sadly. But she's not dead all the way yet. You know, she's still like slowly dying, and Shinsong finally makes it there. Oh, and also at this point the curse is broken. Yeah.
Like, first she explodes, everyone is revived, everyone that just died, old and new. So like all the 100,000 soldiers from 30,000 years prior also get revived. We didn't say, but the on the battlefield, the women from the camp were there.
Yes.
Which I thought was interesting.
Oh,
they came to fight. They were there. Which is interesting just because war obviously took everything away from them, so you would think they wouldn't be so inclined to going off to war. Also, they lost so much that I just don't know that their allegiance is really with the Moon Tribe anymore. But like, I don't know, they were there. They had something to fight for, I guess. Maybe redeeming, you know, what they lost, actually. Just like fighting for for their men that they lost. I don't know. But anyway, they were there. I liked it.
I also think they believe Shinsong in the sense where, like, he's made these promises and he's changed, and they obviously can see him because they've seen him 30,000 years ago. They know what he's like. So I think they believe in him maybe and believe in his cause at that point and believe that he will return those soldiers to them.
We get to the moment. I don't know if you saw us. Seff definitely did.
And had a mini breakdown? Yeah.
Yeah. So if you followed the prior episodes, you'll know that we are Reylos, and I can say that as in like all three of us now. But we're Reylos. So we did watch the entire sequel trilogy of Star Wars. We even have episodes on them if you're also a fellow Reylo or Star Wars fan and you want to, you know, hear what we have to say about that whole thing. And you have that to look forward to, I guess, up on our page. But TROS. I was watching this, and this scene in particular, like, it struck me right away. The moment, actually, I think it struck me when I'll send it to you now, S, just so you know, like, what we're talking about. I did a little montage. Yeah.
Did you make it?
Yeah, I did it.
No, but, like, you see the comparisons because, like, when I watched that scene too, I did see it. But I didn't want to see it because I knew I'd have a breakdown. And then you put it together and I was like, oh shit.
Oh, sad. No!
I know! Start crying! I'm
Why would you do this,
Marge?
Marge?
I can't do this. I can't have a breakdown again.
If anyone is interested in seeing what we're talking about and seeing the comparison between TROS and this scene that we're talking about, just go on my Twitter feed. It's on there. Seff is literally holding back tears. It looks like.
Yeah, I
Oh, makes me want to cry all over again. No. Why would you do this?
Right?
Because I couldn't get it out of my head.
It's like we all saw it though. Well, I mean, I did, but it's like we don't need the visual. I did not need the visual.
Yeah.
Well, I did, because I was like, it's too similar and it's really triggering something in me that I don't like.
It's very triggering. That's what it is.
Very
It triggered
much
me.
so.
Thank you. But no, I just
No.
okay, I'll let you finish.
You could have just talked about it, Marge. You couldn't have. You shouldn't have done it. This makes me really sad.
Yeah.
What we could have gotten,
Yes.
but didn't.
That's exactly it. It's what we could have gotten. Outcomes
So-
vastly different.
Yeah, so what we're talking about is the moment where Shinsong sees Lan Hua on the ground. She's just fallen, everyone's revived, blah, blah, blah. And he basically like screams her name and he starts crawling to her. He
It's okay,
you know,
I teared up again.
falls and he gets back up and he gets to her. He grabs her, has her in his arms. And he's basically looking down at her. In this case, she's not a corpse. It is so, like, especially seeing how Lan Hua is not quite dead, and then in comparison to Rey's dead-ass corpse, frightening. honestly frightening to look at. To think that that is in a Disney movie. Anyways.
But they claim she's not dead. She's just sleeping, guys.
No, she was dead. Like, she's... Anyways. He looks down at her, and then he even, like, looks up and around, sort of like in like a anybody here type of way. All of that. And I think it's the moment he looks up and around that I really was like, oh shit, this is exactly that scene from TROS where Ben crawls to Rey, and he's hurt, he's wounded, and he puts literally everything he has left to make his way to her and grabs her, and he's obviously not well, he's distressed, he seems very traumatized by the whole thing because his literal soulmate is on the ground dead, okay, he can't feel her anymore, and grabs her, and then he has that same look around, like, I need help, anybody here? And it's like the help that they will never find.
Yeah.
And the vast difference, or I guess like the most important difference between those two scenes is the outcome, right? It's
yes.
What's going to happen from this point on. And I think, especially for me, it's why it happened that makes the difference. Remember when I said Shinsung kind of got what he deserved?
Yeah.
I think he did, because, like I said, he made his bed with that one because he hasn't done the selfless gesture that he needs to do to redeem himself. He's not there yet, right? Ben Solo, at this point, when he's crawling to Rey, he has made that journey. He has done the selfless gesture. He's about to do it. He's fully ready to do it. He's ready to give himself completely over to love so that his love can live on without him. And he's ready to like give everything. Whereas Shinsong is not ready for that, and it costs him everything, because that was the moment he should have kept his promise that he didn't, and this is what happens. Now here she is, dying. But the problem here is that with Shinsong, this ain't the end. There's 5 more episodes.
It's not the end. Nope.
It will be fine, because this is a part of his journey. He needs that moment. He needs the ultimate moment that makes him realize, I fucked up, and I keep fucking up, and I need to change. This ain't right. Ben Solo should have never died after this moment, because he made his selfless
But the
gesture.
difference is, Marge, that Star Wars is too chicken shit to give Ben Solo his happily ever after, whereas in China, Shinsong was able to be redeemed and was able to live a happy life in the end, despite murdering and despite committing genocide, despite doing everything in his power to be evil. He still got a redemption and lived after it.
But the moral is,
Star Wars is stupid? Yeah.
For Ben Solo anyway, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. He was gonna die either way. That's the moral of the story. Do the good thing, die. Do the bad thing, die.
Yes.
Right? So this ain't right. And it's just, for me, this moment especially, yes, it was triggering. I got emotional watching it. I was very uncomfortable because it brought back a lot of emotions that I didn't want to think about. And I had to watch that scene to make the comparison. And I was like, ooh, that's it. Ooh. A different tone. A very different tone. But it just emphasizes the problem with what happened with that story, and how incomplete and butchered it was in the end, because that shows you why the intention behind the gesture is so fucking important. Makes sense that she dies for Shinsong. Totally, I'm on board with that. I fully agree. He deserved it. So, as you can see, very bittersweet feelings about that whole thing, and you know, I think at least from like online, like the people that have interacted with us, like the people watching this are people that also know Star Wars, so I don't think you guys are going to be lost as far as like what we're talking about. You probably have very similar feelings.
Okay, and I also made that comment. Okay, guys, I don't hate Star Wars. I just hate what they did with Ben Solo's character. Okay. As long as we're all in the clear there.
Well, you have to be consistent with your messaging. That's it.
Yeah.
Star Wars was not consistent. This story is being very consistent on that front.
That's why, like, I feel like we keep. Well, I mean, Marge, I think you say it and I say it as well. Like, I feel like they are giving me what I wanted and what we needed.
Yeah.
And you know what? If you're a Reylo and you're somehow stumbled upon this part of the episode, I highly recommend you watch the show. Like, it's not going to heal your Reylo heart. It's never going to do that. It's going to, I think, be a balm to it for sure. Like, I honestly felt like, yeah, like, this is how it should have went. And it was good. It was like, it made me feel good to see it.
Because you know what this kind of, like, the place where Shinsong is at mentally and emotionally here kind of reminds me of TLJ, The Last Jedi.
Yes.
When they fight together and Ben, or Kylo at that point, has the right intentions, but is going about it in completely wrong ways. Or I guess, like, he hasn't completed that journey. He's still trying to achieve something on the dark side. He's not, like, redeemed in any way. And the consequence, if you will, is he loses her.
Yeah.
She leaves. She leaves his ass. She's like, no, that's not right. You're. So to me, that's where, like, that's that moment for Shinsong in a way. Like, he's kind of like, oh, okay, this is a problem. I've fucked up. I need to do something about this. Right. So, anyways. So that happens. As thoughts during that whole sequence of events, the death and the holding and the music.
It was really sad. Like, my eyes got watery for sure. Okay. And then seeing him sobbing as well. And then just watching her disappear from his arms. It was really sad.
Guys.
He held it together so long. At first I was like, why is he not really reacting? But I think it just hadn't hit him yet that she was dying. And then when she says, like, I want the sun, like, I want to see the sun or something.
Yeah. And he takes her.
He brings her to the sun. Yeah.
And when she does the smile thing one last time, that's when my tears hit.
Yeah.
Because I think that's when you realize, like, oh my gosh, I'm losing her.
Moving on from that, Jelly does basically the same thing that Shinsong does to poor Dragon Boy.
Yeah.
Which is make him believe that it was all false and I never left you.
Because she's dying.
Yeah. So I guess it's kind of like hurt him now to lessen his pain later.
Again, she's another person that hasn't experienced love at all. So her ideas are kind of skewed at this point.
So the Chitty woman is resurrected.
Yes.
She's back in the flesh.
She is.
However, Ron Howe, who has spent 30,000 years trying to revive this woman, the first thing he does is basically gaslight the woman.
I was like, excuse you, sir. Tell her the truth.
Right. He tries to make it appear like, oh no, like, you just lost the plot. Like, you've been here this whole time. Like, it's fine. Yeah. Like, no time has passed. Don't worry about it.
Like, 30,000 years, like, you did fight. Don't worry about it. But you're okay. You've been here. Oh, do I have to tell you this again? Like,
I hate him. I really don't like his character.
Was livid.
I think this is the moment where, up until this point, I was vaguely interested in their story. It had potential for some angst,
Yeah.
But I think this is the episode where I started not caring as much because it's like, I like villains, but sometimes you get to a very, very fine line between, like, villains I can like and am kind of turned on by, and villains that I just straight up am not okay with, type of thing.
Yeah.
Like, he crossed that line a little for me, where I was like, actually, that's not hot. Like, to me, you just crossed the not hot line.
No, I agree with that, but I I felt like he just kept digging his hole deeper and deeper and deeper, and
Yeah.
you kind of knew it was going to go somewhere, especially since you realize that she's having all these vivid nightmares and how she's having, all these blackout moments, and like, Tai Sui is taking over in a sense. So it's like you kind of know where it's going, and like that kind of made them like intriguing in a sense, because he's going to lose the one thing he spent 30,000 years fighting for, 30,000 years sacrificing everything for.
Yeah. Respect the woman.
Honestly,
Men have a hard time respecting women in this show.
agreed.
I gotta say, especially the women that they say they love. It ain't that hard, okay? You're just not making the efforts.
Yeah.
Anyways, this episode ends. Remember us saying that feminism was a 9 to 5 thing? I feel like we're being very feminist in this episode. Good for us.
I think we are. I think this is 9 to 5.
Right. No, well, not quite. A little past 9 to 5.
It's 5:10 over here, so
there you go.
we're kind of good.
Oh no, we're still over it then. It's 9 to 5 somewhere in this world.
Right. So this episode ends with Shinsong kind of. Well, he wakes up. At first, we're like, what?
I was like, what the hell?
But he wakes up, and Lanhua is there. He's just basically sleeping on her lap. And at first, he's like, how are you here? And then she's like, no, I'm fine. I don't know what you're talking about. Acting all like, I don't know. And we realize that it's all a dream, obviously, of his own making. And basically it kind of chronicles real fast, like 500 years of their married life where they're happy and laughing and enjoying life and smiling all the time. And obviously he's holding on to that very hard.
Of course.
And his brother and Dragon Boy and even Changhong, but that's later. But Changhong even shows up, and they're all trying
to break him out
to
of it.
Get him out of that.
And that's how episode 32 starts.
Exactly. So episode 32 starts, and as I just said, Changhong arrives on the scene and realizes what's going on, and why can't why can't Shinsong stay in that dream realm?
Well, he's using his primordial spirit, and if he uses a lot of it, he'll just die. Mm-hmm. And so Changhong basically goes into the dream to pull him out of it and wake him up, but Shinsong, no matter what, does not want to get out of it. He knows that it's a dream, but he doesn't want to leave.
Yeah. He also, right before Changhong appears in his dream, he sees from the tree, the mirror tree, he sees the wedding day between Changhong and Lanhua again. Kind of reminded, his subconscious kind of reminding him that has not happened yet. Oh my god, my voice.
I know, my voice, I'm losing it just a little bit.
So, yeah, Changhong, as you said, he tries to convince him to no avail, sorry. Shinsong is not ready to let it go yet. And he's acting like he doesn't know that it's a dream. So, Changhong is back in his own body, because that didn't work. And then all of them, the brother, the Dragon Boy, Changhong, and like 2 of the war generals or whatnot, kind of team up to try and break the dreamscape or whatnot. I'm not sure whether are they trying to break it? Are they trying to?
No, they were giving some of their primordial spirit over to Shinsong.
Even then,
because he was burning up his own spirit really quickly, so they're like, here, take some of ours to like slow it down a bit.
I think maybe you guys have your own sort of like interpretations of the whole dream scene, what it could mean in your opinion for Shinsong, but mine was kind of like, I think the symbolism of that is what I kind of alluded to earlier on about love versus obsession. I think it's Changhong that tells him like, this is obsession, you're obsessed with this idea, or she's obsession, like Lanhua in this version of his dream is like the embodiment of his obsession type of thing. So I thought that that was really interesting, and the fact that it slowly disintegrates around him, and he says that he knew from the beginning that it wasn't real.
Yeah.
And he says, Xiaolanhua, wait for me, I will save you. So I think this is him destroying his obsession and choosing love. Like, from this point on, he is choosing the right kind of love, not the love that's like obsession, which makes him do bad, like take bad decisions and go behind her back because he's not loving her right the way that she deserves.
I thought you were gonna say like the opposite. Him dreaming of her was his obsession was going overboard, or that's what I thought you were gonna say.
No, I think it's just him saying goodbye to her in this, like, this version of her, like the version that he's not loving right, and sort of like deciding, no, I'm gonna love her right as she is, and I'm gonna respect her from this point on. And this is the first, little step towards making selfless acts
Yeah,
of
because
love from this point on.
Yeah. And when Chong Hong goes there, he basically kind of tells him, like, we could bring her back. Like, this is not the end of her story. So I think Shinsong seeing, the wedding in the tree, it's more so like he's going to have to be selfless in this point. Like, he's going to have to realize that she's going to marry another man.
Exactly like Ben Solo, where he was like, I am okay at this point. I love this woman enough to want the world, to want her to come back to this world and let myself die in the process, type of thing. Like, she can live on without me. I think this is, well, not here precisely, but this is the beginning of that sort of like emotional journey for Shinsong of like kind of coming to terms with the fact that she'll come back because it was foretold that she would. But that life may not include you.
Yeah.
And you have to love her enough to let her go and let that be, So, yeah.
Okay, so then then jumping ahead, what do you think? You think he's still selfless in the way that he's trying to, how he was doing things for the goddess and him trying to remind her that she was Orchid and him trying to make her fall in love with him again? Do you think that was selfless or a little selfish? Because she's already the goddess.
I think that was selfless in the sense that he let it go. He like to me the point of that scene was basically to just make that comparison to, because he's doing everything that he was doing at the very beginning of the show, the exact same things. So I don't know. To me, that ended with him going, "You're right. It's not you. She's not you. I'll have a happy wedding, happy marriage.
Yeah.
Goodbye." So I don't know. We can maybe revisit that when we get to that scene. But did you guys have any other ways that you interpreted the whole dream thing?
No, I think it's like what you said, and then
I think he was just in denial as well, wanting to hold on to her as much as he could.
I know, willing to die for her too, like just to live in that fake world for as long as he could.
Dragon Boy is told about the butterfly curse that was put on him, and that's when he starts realizing that perhaps Jelly lied to him again, that she made herself seem like the villain when she wasn't. And then it literally switches. Do you think Jelly was digging herself a grave?
Yeah.
Is that what she was doing in the ground?
I think that's what she was doing. She was digging herself a grave.
Oh my god, I didn't even make that connection.
Yeah.
That is so sad.
It was really sad because if she died on the street, who would care? No one would have cared to like make a grave for her. Only she did.
Oh man, that is fucked up on another level, that she was digging her own grave and like kind of was lying in it until that stupid woman showed up.
I know.
Gave her the medicine. I mean, we're glad she did because she's alive, but
but at least she got to meet her dad and all of that too, right? Like she didn't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, so she didn't die there.
Yeah. So the whole end of this episode is so okay. So Lady Arbiter right? The Lanhua's master.
Yes.
Shows up with a man called Lord Arbiter, who literally basically doesn't say anything, but he looks like an actor I've seen before, so like he ain't a nobody. I was so confused about this whole thing because I was like, is this a cameo I'm supposed to understand?
I was confused in the sense where I just did not know what was going on because her master is alive but lives in another dimension, in another Arbiter Hall, but will never return to Arbiter Hall. Like, I was confused.
Here's the thing. This author that wrote the novel on which this series is based has a lot of novels. And I know that in 2023, I believe, there is another show releasing that's also one of her books. And it is rumored / pretty much confirmed at this point, that Chang Hong makes a cameo in that series.
Ooh.
Because her worlds cross, like her books kind of cross like that. So when that happened, I was so confused that I was like, is this a cameo that I'm supposed to understand? Like, people that have read the book, maybe in China,
Maybe.
would recognize who these characters are.
Maybe.
And like they have their own story, and that's why it's mentioned that like they live in another dimension together, and they have their whole like story. I was very confused.
I think so. I mean, that could be a good explanation. But again, like, it doesn't help me with this story. I was like, okay, so she knows about about Lanhua, and she gives Shinsong her destiny book and all this stuff. But I was like, I still wasn't understanding the concept of it. And like, how did everyone know that she existed in this like alternate dimension?
But she gave him important information, though.
Yeah, for sure.
She told him that the only people who can see the prophecy in the tree, the mirror tree, are the people who can make it happen. That's interesting. And we also learn later on in like a flashback in a later episode that she also tells him that what was it?
That a piece of Orchid's spirit is mixed with his.
Well,
in
yeah,
order to
But
resurrect
she also
her.
says something about the Destiny book, I think.
yeah. So she says, at the end of all ends or something like that, you have the power to change her fate.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's the sentence that kind of, I think, links back to what she told Lanhua in her own flashback, where she says, love is the only thing that can change fate. And so here she's telling him, like, you're the only one who can change her fate, meaning, like, they're lovers. Like, you know, they love each other, and love surpasses all and conquers all type of thing. So that was my kind of takeaway. Episode 33.
So Chang Hong and Shinsong are working together to bring her back. They have a little piece of her primordial spirit. It's really weak, and Chang Hong is basically like, it's gonna hurt her, but we gotta do it. So they do it, and they bring her back as a little seed that Shinsong plants and takes care of for years and years and years. I don't know how many years. He waters it with the morning dew. He walks the little plant. He gives the plant sunshine.
Yeah.
He's a plant daddy.
He becomes a pet daddy. That's what I was kind of referring to, where this is clearly done as like a comparison to earlier in the season, where he's doing the exact same things for her. Remember when he was trying to heal her primordial spirit because it was wounded, and he was doing all those things, but he was not doing them for her own interests.
For the right reasons.
Exactly.
But now he wants to do it, and he wants to take care of her, and he wants her to live.
Yeah.
And it's just like, he was so cute.
This symbolism of him helping her grow back, when she helped him grow back his love tree, he's returning the favor.
Damn.
And he's literally put into a very maternal role. Like, he is literally nurturing and protecting and providing, and like, it's just so great to see and beautiful to see, because it's completely different from any other versions of him that we've seen prior to this, even his softest moments were not this soft. Like, you see the difference.
Yeah. And I love to see it, and it was great. But what happens?
He tells her that she should be mad at him.
Okay, wait. She wakes up, blooms into a being. Anyways, so she wakes up and meets the old god thing, and he basically tells her, when you go back, you won't have any like memories of Lanhua, or like your duty is there and you got to do it. And then she's the goddess now, and she's like, I know what my duties are, and then she agrees to go back, and she's totally different than the Lanhua we know.
At first, I was like, are they really serving me amnesia trope here? Like,
I was like, I don't want
would
it.
not put it past them.
Yeah, I hate amnesia.
Why don't you guys like amnesia trope? What's with it?
I don't have anything against it. I
think I've just been burned way too many times with Turkish dramas in terms of like amnesia tropes that I'm like, I don't want it. I've seen it like 5,000 times already, and I'm like, I don't want it. Yeah.
So, as S previously said, our man Shin Song basically transformed into the embodiment of yes, I do the cooking, yes, I do the cleaning. In his mission to try and make her fall in love with him again, because obviously she's like, who are you? And he's heartbroken.
Yeah, and he makes this little comment where he's like, he thinks it's a good thing that she doesn't know him, so that she doesn't have the bad memories, and if she doesn't have the bad memories, then she, won't hate him, and he's gonna make her fall in love with him again. And I'm like, dude.
Yeah, and he's asking Dragon Boy, like, how did I make her fall in love with me in the first place? And, like, Dragon Boy's like, well, you did that, and then you did that. And so he's trying to, like, replicate everything to make her fall in love, but she's really not having any of it.
And nothing's working.
They've basically reversed roles at this point. Like, he becomes... It's, like, the same dynamic as the first few episodes of this series, but roles reversed, where like she's the impassive goddess who's like couldn't care less, like, please leave me alone, and like he's like the puppy dog trying to, and like annoying her and like not leaving her alone, and like always being loud and stuff. So I loved the reversal here so much.
It was very cute. And then he tells her to call him, how do you say it? Dachian?
Dacia, I think, or Dacian. I didn't.
Which is the name he used at the beginning of the show.
She used for him. That she was calling him. Yeah.
Oh.
He never called himself that. She was calling him.
Oh,
that.
okay. Well, anyways, it was just so cute because like the parallels, like you said, from the beginning to now, and it's like he's actually wanting to do this for her, which is like not the case in the beginning. And Dragon Boy is trying to tell him some things, and is kind of telling him, I don't think she's the fairy. I think she's the goddess. She's not her. And Shinsong does not want to believe that.
I have to say, honestly, cannot stress enough that I like major props for this actress, because she's basically played 3 different kinds of characters at this point. She's played herself as Lanhua. She's played Shinsong in her body. And now she's playing, like, the impassive goddess. And all 3 were completely different, to the point where even her face looked different without, like, anything actually changing.
She is, such a great actress.
Amazing, really. Major props. Chung Hong comes back. Shows up, comes back.
Chung Hong, yeah, he's there.
Chung Hong
doesn't miss a chance here.
Does not miss a chance, but the goddess does not miss her chance either. She's real eager for that wedding to happen.
As soon as this man comes, she's like, so our wedding, it's happening, right? Let's do it today.
Can
Let's do it
you
yesterday.
blame her though? Have you seen him?
Obviously, I have.
I too would be like, yes, sir. Let's get married immediately.
And okay, but I also love when Chong Hong basically confronts Shinsong. And he's like, yo, I he's like, I basically like gave up on her and I left her in your keeping. And all you do is hurt her. And he's just mad. And it was just like, damn.
Yeah.
Truth has been spoken.
Yeah.
And he's not, it doesn't seem like he's that excited to marry her because it's not.
No, because he's
It's
given
not
up on
Orchid,
her.
it's not.
No.
And like, yeah, and it's not Lanqua, right? And that's who he
Yeah.
loves.
Yeah, Chinsun is like, aren't you pleased with yourself? Like, you're gonna get everything you wanted. And he's like, no, dude. I, like you, love her. This is not her. This is someone else. I'm not happy. I want her back too. And like you said, I entrusted her in your keep, in your protection. And look what that got us.
I know.
So
I was back to like, you know, liking him at this point. I feel like Chong Hong, like, I really feel like he got the short end of the stick here in the show, and I
really did.
I really wish, you know, we get a sequel show where like he gets his love or something. I would watch it.
Maybe it exists.
I don't know. Ooh, we should go searching.
Again, this author has a lot of books. Lots of books.
Okay.
And with how well this show is done, I imagine they're going to probably adapt more of her stuff.
So is this her first adaptation?
I don't know. But I know that there's another one coming. So
Okay.
I don't know. I was like, at the end of this episode, I was like, Diane dies again?
Oh, I know.
For fuck's sake.
Poor girl.
It's the most brutal ass death.
I know. It's like her throat got slit, and I was like, oh shit. Chitty Woman
can't
went
catch
full
a
dark,
moment.
and poor Diane again is dead. But anyways, episode 34 starts, and it was not. It was
Yeah,
just
she's not
a
dead.
hallucination. She's not dead.
I feel so bad for her. She's like that one character that cannot catch a break.
Okay,
No
I
matter
had
what.
an idea. Actually, no,
Yeah.
I'll save it for the end of the show.
Okay. Oh,
Just
are you
remind
gonna
me. Just
remember?
remind
Is
me.
that in your... Okay. Is it... Do I need to remind you, like, Diane?
Yeah,
Is it about her?
Diane
Okay.
and Chong Hong.
So as you said, episode 34, she's fine. The Chitty Woman is, like, possessed. Evil spirit's back in her body. She kills a bunch of people. And
Poor thing,
I was like...
though. Like, I honestly felt so bad for her. She's never asked for any of
Yeah.
this. She didn't even want to come back. And, like, she comes back, and she's massacring her own people.
Yeah. Because of him.
Yep.
Because of the deal that Ron Howe made.
Yep.
Because he went too far. And his way of trying to bring her back was to have the evil spirit live in her, correct?
Yeah, it's basically like a foil for Shinsong and Lanqua in the sense where Shinsong could have done this to Lanqua and could have brought her back in this way, but if he did, that's what would have happened.
Yeah, I feel like their whole relationship, like, there would be so much to unpack there.
With who?
Of just, like, how wrong Ron Howe and the Chitty Woman, like, how wrong it becomes, like, how something that began as, like, innocent turned really, really dark really, really quickly. And
Yeah. No, it's like that quote. Like it really like hit me here. It's like too much love can be a poison. And in this sense,
Oh, yeah.
too much love is a poison for her. Anyway, she's about to be executed. Big bro, king guy is like, yeah, let's execute her because she's possessed. Wrong Hao, what happened? Wrong Hao is broken out by Diane's dad. He turns himself in, which we...
But what I didn't get that part. Was he really gonna break him out?
Yeah, because of his daughter. Remember, he needs the cure for jelly.
Okay, but then Danyan, she interferes, and then
She doesn't know, right? She doesn't know about jelly's poison and
the
all of
curse,
that.
yeah.
and then he's still let out, and then he's attacked.
Yeah.
So then, what was the point? Like, it was just.
It runs in the family. Bad plans run in the family now that we know who Jelly's father is.
Shut up.
DNA.
Leave Jelly alone. She came through in this episode, okay? She did not care if she died. She wanted that Haishi lady to die, and she killed her, and my heart broke. So I was like, no, Jelly cannot die. This is not how we're doing this story.
Can we talk about that death, though? I was really disappointed in how that went down. This woman has been manipulating Jelly since pretty much infancy.
Yeah.
All her life, she's been threatened, manipulated. She's been coerced into doing bad things to people she loved because she had no other choice. Her loneliness was completely used against her. And this woman is at the heart of it. I mean,
Yeah.
one could say Ron Howe is at the heart of it, but this woman is at the heart of it, okay? She was the one who was in direct contact with Jelly throughout all of that. And the death itself, like Jelly killing her literal I don't want to say abuser, but
Manipulator, I guess.
manipulator was so like not impactful. It was just like, oh, she like to the point where I had to ask myself, is she actually dead?
I think it's as well like the way they edit that scene. Like you don't really see contact. It's like it's weirdly edited.
Yeah, I didn't see the sword go in. Like I really believe maybe it could have been a time constraint thing, but the intent is there. She does kill the person that used, abused, manipulated her throughout her whole life, which I love that it was her that killed her. And I think the intent is there, and I appreciate it, and I'm happy that that happened. But what I was not happy with was the conversation Jelly had with her sister Diane, and it broke my heart because she's basically saying she's unlovable, she's not worth love, and she's not worth forgiveness either. Like, she doesn't care, she doesn't want their forgiveness. The people that she's hurt, meaning her dragon boy, Landqua. It was so sad.
And her curse starts acting up after that.
Yeah.
Which they have to go to the goddess to try and help Jelly. Or Diane does.
Diane has a
Tries
change
to
of
get her
heart.
there.
Yeah, she's like, you're my sister. We got to make sure that you survive because this is not cool. You can't die. And Diane literally, like, gives her a piggyback there because Jelly can't walk anymore. I was like, oh.
I love complicated relationships between sisters.
Because it's realistic.
Sad reunion between Dragon Boy and Jelly at the door of Arbiter Hall.
I know.
Everyone's basically acting like nobody knows nobody, but it's like, y'all were all in love and engaged like a month ago.
No, but I love how Diane is like, yo, you are so dumb. I love Chong Hong, and he doesn't love me back. You have Dragon Boy right there, literally, like, looking like a puppy dog, waiting for you to accept him, and, like, you're not doing anything about it. You're a coward. I love that she calls her out and says you're a coward.
And you know who is not a coward out of all of them? You know what? Diane actually has the one of the most well done character arcs. She is not, that woman is not a coward.
No.
Because that woman is literally the only one who heard about the wedding between Chong Hong and the goddess, and she put her big girl panties on and she went right up to the men she loves and she said, so you're gonna marry her? All right.
No, she's like, she tries one last time though. And he's like, he shuts her down so quick. And he's like, he's basically marrying her because it's in his destiny. And I wish we saw Diane basically like separate herself and be like, you know what, that's not worth it. But again, at the same time, he's never promised her anything besides friendship. I get it, but I love her.
It's just a really sad story of unrequited love.
Yeah, because Chong Hong isn't a bad man. That's the problem. You can't hate him for not loving her. But it's like he's such an idiot because she loves him so much and he's losing out on such a great person.
Someone who literally always had his back.
That always chose him. Okay, fine. I can talk about what I want to talk about now. So I'm just saying, I have this little theory in my head, you know, like they stay besties because in the end they just agree to be best friends. And I want it to be like he slowly falls in love with her, but then, like, you know, some other man comes in, like a friends to lovers type of thing. Like, and then another man comes, and that's when he's like, oh shit, like, I need her. Like, how do I claim her type thing? Like, that's what I would want for this story.
I'd be down for that.
Me too.
I just don't understand why they didn't go for it. It was right there. Like, what was the point of just keeping them friends, I wonder?
Guys, I have a fun fact that I kind of stumbled upon before I watched the show, and now kind of, like, I just remember it. Diane was supposed to be with the brother.
What brother? Jinsung's brother?
Yeah. They had like pictures
What?
together and everything, but then they decided to scrap that storyline.
Is it like that in the book?
I don't know. I don't know what that was, but apparently that was the original plan until they scrapped that story.
Interesting. That brother does not deserve
He doesn't.
anyone, especially not Diane.
No.
Chong Hong does deserve a Diane in his life. That brother does not.
No, he hasn't showed it. Like, I'm happy they didn't go that route because, like you said, he would not have appreciated Diane at all, and he did not deserve her.
So, episode 35, my first note is literally, I'm so done with Ron Hao. I'm sorry, but his storyline is annoying as hell now. Because basically, we are 2 episodes from the end.
Yeah.
And about 50% of this episode is Ron Hao.
Yeah, like the fairy world. I was like, I don't give 2 shits about them right now.
Yeah, I don't give a 2 shits about them either right now. Why are we here?
So what I had, so basically, Tai Sui is basically like wanting to merge with the Chitty woman's body, taking over, and like, all of her dark, actions will stop, blah 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 blah. And then like I kept like, because like Rong Hao is basically agreeing with him. And he's like, yeah, you can do it, but I'm like, her body, her choice. Like, what the hell?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they kept making these decisions, going over her own mind. Like I was just so confused, and then. Yeah, I was really mad about that until we realized that it was just Rong Hao playing him.
You know what I just thought of when you said that, like her body, her choice. Like it just, their whole relationship reminds me of, I don't know if you guys have read The Yellow Wallpaper,
Yeah.
that like short story,
Yeah.
about the woman who has hysteria, quote unquote hysteria, and basically like the husband is like this doctor, so she like believes everything he says, and he's like, no, you're fine, and whatever. Long story short, he starts controlling every aspect of her life, and she kind of like goes crazy from it, or starts believing that she's in fact crazy. It kind of reminds me of that kind of relationship, like how men treated hysteria, and how women were sort of like put into asylums for being crazy, and like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where she's like, here she has this like god evil thing in her, and I don't think she's aware of that.
Yeah, she's not.
And she's killing people, waking up afterwards like completely traumatized by the fact that she just killed people, and she's having these nightmares and like these thoughts that she doesn't understand, and like memories and stuff, and of just pain and death, and he's not explaining anything to her. He's completely gaslighting her, and has not like doesn't have her best interests in mind. And as you said, now he's even controlling like what happens to her body. Like,
right.
It's gotten to this point, which is why it passed the line of like, I can get down with this. It's like, no, I can't.
The way that I saw this, and at first I was like, yeah, like, what the hell are you doing? Her body, her choice. Like, of course, like, everything prior to this, I was not on board with, because he was never, ever asking her, because obviously she was dead. But, like, the extent of his obsession here was, like, to the next level. But I love the point where, like, she's asked him to kill her because she can't go on like this. And he, like, doesn't accept that until, like, obviously later on, like, she tells him, like, I've only felt like humanity once, and that was with you when I decided to save you at no matter the cost, and, like, bring you back as, like, this other being. And then that's, like, when he has his breakdown, and he realizes, like, I've gone too far, and he finally gives her what she wants, and he kills her. And, like, the tragedy behind that was, like, what he wanted didn't matter anymore. He just needed her to be happy, and that's what it should have been from the beginning. So I like that it was done that way, and that he died with her.
Yeah, I think that moment of where she asked, like, kill me, and he keeps, like, deflecting a couple times. Like, he keeps pretending like she didn't ask, and then, like, he's acting like, no, it's fine, blah, blah. Like, that moment for him really reminds me of the dream for Shinsong. Like, it's that same kind of, like, I can't let you go, so I'm just gonna pretend, even though I know it's fake, even though I know it's wrong, even though blah, 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 I'm just gonna keep on pretending that, like, this is fine.
Yeah.
Because I can't emotionally cope with the truth, and I'm not ready to let it go. Like, I'm not ready to let you go. So I think that the two of them are kind of like foils of each other in those two scenes here. But yeah, so he self-detonates, which is a thing that happens a lot in these novels, the grand boom.
But wasn't it like he thought that he could fight Tai Sui with his primordial spirit, or?
No, it's literally self-detonation. It's like you literally implode from within.
Oh.
And you use that to try to kill something.
Oh, okay.
So he knew he was going to die. Like, it wasn't like, we'll fight and, like, maybe I'll make it out. It's like, no, I'm self-detonating inside of your evil spirit to try to, like, combat it. But it didn't work.
The music, though, was beautiful. I love the music in this show.
Oh, we didn't say, but Ron Hao learns that scene I liked, where, like, he realizes that the reason why she, right? The reason why she became immortal is because of him. Like, she did it for him or something? Did I understand that correctly? that she went through her mortal, like she had prepared ahead of time, like that she was gonna. Did I
To be honest, I wasn't
misunderstand
paying
all that?
attention until it got really tragic.
My understanding was that before her death, she knew she was going to reincarnate, and she did it for him.
I don't know. I took it as like, you're probably right, but I took it like when they talked about her humanity was like her moment of selfishness of saving this child that died and bringing him back.
Maybe that was it. I feel like I didn't quite understand that whole thing.
I don't know. But anyways, enough about them. Let's move on.
Yeah.
They're both dead. R.I.P. Anyways, we go back to Chong Hong, and it's basically a flashback to how he agreed to marry the goddess, which is Lan Hua's reincarnation. And she tells him basically, like, I remember everything. But
She lied.
she lied. I was like, oh my gosh. So she knows Lan Hua.
Yeah.
She has those memories. She's in love with Shinsong, but she's marrying Chong Hong so that the powers can unlock so that she can fight Tai Sui and kill him this time. And Chong Hong's like, wait, the previous generations of goddesses, they died. Are you going to die fighting Tai Sui? That was so sad because I got a real Jacob Black moment here where he's like, you're going to fuck him as a human and you could die.
Oh, that's great.
Oh my god. I mean, kind of a different kind of emotion, I would say, but okay.
No, of course. But it's just like the idea of like this best friend. Like, you're going to
fuck
die.
him
Are you
as a
sure?
human and die? Oh my god.
Yeah, that's how I saw it.
Basically, she gives Jinsong a taste of his own medicine.
Yeah. And she also knows at this point that Tai Sui will basically go to Shinsong next as his vessel if she doesn't do this.
She's doing it to protect him. She's doing the exact same thing that he did. Except
Yes.
this time it makes sense for her.
Yeah.
Whereas my man needs to get his act together.
What does Shinsong do though after all this?
He asked her to go with him to the bridge so they can hang.
To do one last thing for him.
Yeah, so they can hang the logs.
Y'all, I bawled my eyes out here. I'm not even gonna lie.
Girl.
I had to pause
get
the
me
show.
started.
I'm crying on the chair
Yeah.
with my mom and Mia both crying. My dad's laughing. I'm like, this is so sad.
Why is he laughing? Emotions.
No, because like I don't think he realized like we were crying as hard as we were.
Oh.
I think I haven't cried a single time the entire show, and I didn't cry after this either.
Yeah.
But this scene on the bridge, and the moment that got me was when he says, basically there's this story or whatever that like if you put the lock, then that means that the relationship is gonna last forever. And she's like, well, she's not here, so what's the point? And it's the moment where he says, well, I will always remember her.
Yeah.
She'll always be with me.
So she'll live on with me. Yeah.
I started crying so bad. Like, honestly, ugly crying. Like, it wasn't funny.
No, it was horrible. So basically, yeah, she says that, and then she has to turn away because she obviously knows who this is, and she has to turn away and like compose herself and not let him see that she knows and she is Lan Hua. And it was like, it's so heartbreaking because he's like, you know what, you can leave because you're not her. It doesn't matter if you do it or not. And like when he puts the lock on, he's sobbing. He's like, I'm so sorry. And like, he wanted her to see that he isn't evil and that he, like, finally Lan Hua knows the reason why he was like so cold to her, why he humiliated her in episode 31, 32. And it's just like, it was heartbreaking, guys. I couldn't stop crying.
And to see her face.
I know. And the way that he was like, why did you love me until the end? Like, it was just like, my heart couldn't handle it.
Because she loved you right, and when you love people right, you can't break that.
So sad.
He didn't know that before.
How hard did you cry on a scale of 1 to 10?
I think it was an 8, but it wasn't like a sobbing cry. It was like where your tears just kind of go down.
Yeah.
And your heart's
there was
breaking.
a little bit of like moaning on my part, like, like, oh my that kind of card.
I think Dylan Wang just really hits it with the crying scenes. He does it so on Meteor Garden and in this show, like the way he cries, like it's just like you feel it, and I really felt it to the point where like I had to cry. I had to let myself cry it out.
Yeah, and we get the following moment where Shinsong wishes her a happy wedding.
Yeah, he's officially letting her go.
Something takes a hold of her, and she reaches up with her two little fingers.
I know.
And she pulls his lips up the way that she's been doing, and boom, bada boom, it's all revealed.
Yeah, and she's like, oh shit.
She's back.
And he clearly does like,
He's like, wait, what?
holy fuck, you wouldn't know about this if
Yeah.
you weren't Lanhua. And that's how he knows that she's been faking it the whole time. And so he from that moment on, he's like determined. He's like, oh, okay, I know what I have to do now.
Yeah. He looks back at the Destiny book that was given to him by the Master at Arbiter Hall, and now he's figured out that she plans, like she sees the Destiny in the Destiny book and sees that she plans to fight Taisui and die fighting. So then he knows the only chance here is to change her fate, and he basically, you know, is ready to fight, but he shows up and like kisses her hard and disappears.
Yeah, it was a kiss goodbye.
I know, it was a kiss goodbye.
Did you guys replay the kiss? I replayed it like 2
The
3
kiss
times.
was actually really good. Like, I mean,
Yeah, it was a good kiss.
as opposed to other like kisses I've seen in like Mandarin shows and K-dramas, I've just like basically just seen like no lips moving.
The kisses are very good in this show.
Yeah.
I agree. Like they're good. They're not overly like pure and like you said, like unsexual like as much as possible.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very passionate. Especially this
I mean,
one.
I will forever remember that bite from like
The
episode 7 or
bite,
whatnot.
guys. I want to see the bite again.
Or the neck grab kiss.
Oof.
Yes.
Oh, oof. Oof.
All of them,
No,
all
good
the kisses, all
in
the
this
grabs,
show.
everything.
Good kisses. or the kiss by the fire when they're in the human realm. That
Question.
was a good kiss.
Do
Yeah.
you think the book version is like smutty?
I don't know. I tried to look it up, but it doesn't. I couldn't find like a translation or anything, so I couldn't get my answer as to if this
Okay.
has smut or not. Because if it did, I'll be reading it.
I
I
know.
won't tell you that much.
Anyways, the episode ends with basically both of them getting ready for different reasons. She's getting ready for her wedding, and he's getting ready to fight Taisui.
Is this the one where we see his claws?
Yeah.
Okay.
His little, when he's
I loved his claws.
dressing.
We love claws. Episode 36, the finale. We've made it here, folks. 36 episodes later. It's the end.
So basically, wedding's happening, and Shinsong is also confronting Taisui in like the darkest part of his heart. And he basically tricks him because he first tells Taisui, of course you can have my body, and like entraps him in his heart. See? Love tree.
Yeah, well, where the love tree is.
And he locks
The
him in there.
symbolism.
Sorry?
The symbolism.
Oh,
of
yes,
him
yes.
bringing the evil spirit to his love tree that's literally blooming.
I know, I
because
know.
She healed it.
And
Hello.
exactly, and I loved, like, you know how you said, I forgot, I think it was episode 1 or 2 of this series, you basically are saying like every single thing has a purpose, every single scene had a purpose.
Everything
So like
has a
her
purpose.
touching his tree in like episode 1, 2, 3, whatever, had a purpose. She had locked some of her powers there, and like because of that, he's able to trap Taisui in that area. And I just like, I loved how it was done. It was so masterful. Like I wouldn't have put 2 and 2 together until like they did it in front of me.
And following this, there's something so cool that I really was not expecting. Basically, Taisui kind of transform, if you will, into basically the hateful part of Jinsong. And so the loving, caring, compassionate part of Jinsong is facing the hateful part of him, the like bad part of him. And the way that they're facing off, first off, great acting on Dylan Wang's part. Like, you see the difference.
Yes.
Like, he literally looks like he has two different faces, but it's literally all in the expressions.
I know.
It's so good.
He's such a good, like, facial actor.
Yeah, I loved this moment of seeing the difference, and it's so important for him to face himself in that moment, because it's not about Taisu, Sway, whatever his name is. Like, yeah, sure, he's the evil spirit, blah, blah, blah. He's like the grand mastermind, whatever. The true battle is between Shinsong and himself. That's the bottom of it. And the fact that he's facing himself here, I just loved it. I loved it. Every second of it. I just think that Chinese dramas understand storytelling very much so.
They do. Yeah. And also they let their villains be redeemed and have happily ever afters.
And they let, you know what else they do? They let their villains have white hair.
Oh, that was hot, guys.
The white
I'm
hair
sorry.
is back and it's hotter than ever.
So, okay, anyways, what basically happens is that Tai Sui is basically trying to play on Shinsong's fears and his fears of, Lan Kwa marrying another man and, like, forgetting about him, and also, like, his weaknesses. He's trying to find his ultimate weakness. And it wasn't working at first, and then it finally works when Tai Sui is basically like she's forgotten about you or something. What was it? How did he get him again?
Yeah, something like she'll forget about you.
Yeah, because he'll be locked, obviously, in there forever. And you won't be able to leave your own heart, sea, tree of love type thing. Love tree. And so Tai Sui basically uses that moment and pounces and possesses Shinsong. Thus the white hair. Does the wedding happen, guys? What happens?
Did it really happen? Because I feel like it kind of skipped over.
It didn't happen. Yo, because in a way, my rice sand theory kind of happened with, like, the black smoke coming in, and, like, he didn't crash the wedding, but it was because of what happened. The wedding did not happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyways, black smoke, like resand. Wedding did not happen. They go and see Tai Sui possessing Shinsong, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, he's lost to us. We gotta kill him. The fairies are trying to kill him, and our goddess, Lan Kwa / I don't know, basically is trying to get to him, but she's, like, still a fairly new goddess, so she's very weak and has not mastered her powers yet. So they're all trying to help her get to him.
What I thought was interesting is the clip of her fighting him. Isn't it the exact same clip that he saw in the Destiny book?
Oh, was it?
When I saw it, I was like, isn't that exactly what he saw in the Destiny book? So, like, did he not change, like, he didn't change her destiny because it's Tai Sui fighting her, and it's the same image of her reaching out, trying to, you know what I mean?
I don't know. I took it as, like, that was always his plan. Like, what happened was always his plan, and she was always supposed to kill him. Because last thing you know, is, like, the Moon Tribe is coming in, and, like, the fairy and the Moon Tribe are coming together. They're fighting a greater evil, and then the annoying fairy king big brother guy is like, why are you guys here? And the brother, Shinsong's brother, is like, Shinsong made this in order before he went and did this thing. So I feel like he knew that it would come down to this, so he made that order, that decree, that this is gonna happen. And she makes it there. She makes it to him. And what do they discover?
Wait. But before you get to that, gotta hand it to the brother. He did have a slight redeeming moment here. Not Chang Hong's brother, the other brother. Just because, like, basically Dragon Boy is like, you want us to kill your brother? And he says, like, yeah. And then the other guy's like, for our people? And he's like, no, for the good of all people, all three kingdoms. So, you know what? I'll hand it over to him.
I mean, I'm still not giving him any points. Your brother wanted that.
Well, he was at minus 30, and now he's at minus 28 points. Yeah. So, good for him.
I would say minus, like, if he's at minus 30, he's at minus 28.999.
9.
fine. 9, just to be sure. Yes. So what happens?
So basically, she makes it to him. They kiss, right? And then evil fairy king guy is like, I've never seen this before, especially the moon tribe leader guy. And what do they create? It's not hellfire anymore. Shinsong does not have control over hellfire anymore. What is it?
Glazed fire.
The translation says glazed fire.
Yeah, that's what I got. But it was really pretty red fire.
Yeah.
Because love conquers all, and he says that my notes say glazed fire, baby. Only those with great love and compassion have it.
Yeah.
That's what the brother says. So I was like, great love and compassion. That's where they're at.
And I love that it was leading up to this. Like, he lost his hellfire, and I was like, wait, what's gonna happen? Like, how? Like, is he just gonna not have his powers anymore? But it was all leading up to this. Like, he's finally, like you said, reached not the end of his journey, but he's reached the pinnacle of it. And, like, he's accepted it all, and he's making the great sacrifice for Lanqua. He doesn't want her to die, and he wants her to stay in this world. And we basically see her and him struggling in the sense where she makes it into that part of his heart, the heart tree, love tree. And he basically has, like, he's back to himself at this point, and, like, he's trying to hold up Tai Sui at this, like, right now, and he basically tells her, you need to kill me. This is how you survive, is if you kill me here, I will die, but you will survive. And you need to do this. Was he redeemed in your eyes, Marge? Were you okay with this decision making?
I'm okay with this. At this point, he's done the work. Okay. He's redeemed himself. I also absolutely adore that the parting shot where he's dying and sort of slowly disintegrating. I believe, I didn't go back to check, but I believe that around him, it's the exact same, the scenery around them, which is basically like a galaxy, like they look like they're in space.
Yeah.
I think it's exactly the same as episode 1 when they collide into each other.
Yeah, except the 4 colors of fire there were not surrounding them anymore, which I don't know what they represent, but I mean... Yeah,
maybe
it was
been fully integrated at that point. Maybe that was just representing like the division in them and in the world, but now everything's united through them because of them. So maybe there's just them left. But I loved that it was the same thing, like the same image basically here.
So he dies.
He does.
500 years pass.
But this is not TROS. This is not Star Wars. So
no.
When someone dies, they come back.
But you know what? I was, for a while, I was thinking, like, he's dead and that's it. Like...
No, because, okay, I wasn't understanding, like, you know how for her she was, like, a plant, right? Like, they could grow, like, they grew her, they brought her back through that. How was he able to come back? Because she had, like, a little jade crescent moon.
That's his primordial spirit, or his what did they call it? Like his first form or whatnot.
Yeah, but then how do you nurture that? And how do you...
I've read books where it was like a sword. A fish. It doesn't matter. It's like, how does a sword evolve into a human being? It just does. It's through cultivation, through... Yeah.
Through love and patience and compassion.
It's not actually about like growing.
500 years of waiting.
Yeah, that's a long time. I mean, not for them, but like,
if
you know.
you think that's a long time, my note literally says they should count themselves lucky. It was only 500 years. I've heard of 20,000 years before. So
that's crazy.
I mean, 500 years for them is nothing. They're immortal. That's like blink of an eye and it's over.
I just really wish this episode was like 10 minutes longer.
Yeah. Well, okay, so we're in a good place to maybe talk about how do we feel about Descending? How do we feel about how it ended?
I feel like it was a good ending. Like, that's why I was saying I really thought he wasn't going to come back for like a good amount of time. So the way it ended, him coming back and like his form out of the little piece of that she has and how he came about. Like, I was pretty happy the way it ended.
For me, I just thought it was like rushed in the sense where like obviously he comes back and like that was it, and then he's like I'm back, and then they kiss and that was it. But I just feel like it was so rushed, and like of course it was satisfying, of course that he came back, it was great, but I needed that a few extra minutes to see their epilogue in a sense, you know, like to see them be like happy and like finally on the same page, all cards shown, and like, you know, they're able to finally be together and be one. And
But I
didn't
think
get to
that's
see
why
it.
we got the when he was in his dream, their little happy moments.
But it wasn't real. So that's why I was like, I just needed an extra 10 minutes, maybe like not even of dialogue, just like a little, even if it's an extra 2 minutes, just a montage of them living their happily ever after, living what they fought for.
Fucking. I didn't see no child, and I don't mean that because they need a child. I just want them fucking.
That's what I wanted to see too, but I didn't say it because I know China has a serious censorship thing going. But yeah, I need to see them fuck, or proof that they fucked.
Proof that they fucked. That's why I wanted to see kids. Literally the only reason. Like, proof to me
A little baby.
that the P went into the V at some point. Please, I beg.
And we didn't get to see their wedding. We knew it. We called it from the last episode.
Yeah.
We knew that we wouldn't get to see their wedding, and we didn't get to see their wedding.
So, personally, I agree that I think the very ending part of this was a bit rushed. I like how she's narrating it in voiceover. I liked that part where she's kind of telling us what love is, you know, what she's kind of learned about love through all of this, which kind of just shows how much she's grown as a character, because like Lan Hua from episode 1 could have not done that. So she's matured so much, and she's just went through 500 years without the man she loved, not knowing that he would ever really come back, and she's still here, which is, you know, you deserve to live on, you know, dead lovers, like, I never, a lot of people are like, oh, I love the trope where they both die, and it's like, well, I don't know about that. I feel like...
It just depends. I just feel like if you're going for a tragic ending, sure. But I feel like there's, in a lot of religions and a lot of cultures, like, obviously you do have a life after death. So, I mean, I could see maybe that argument, but I don't know. I just find it's a different tone altogether if you both die.
Well, again, you could make a comparison between this and the end of TROS, in the sense that, like, even if, say, it stayed like that and he just stays dead, which China would never. I mean, China in the HEA situation would never. They love resurrection, but the tone is completely different. Here, she's narrating everything that she's learned, passing it on to us as viewers. Like, here's what love taught me, here's what my journey taught me, and I'm passing it on to you. I'm content. I have, you know, this piece of memory of the men I loved. She's not crying. She's not regressing as a character at all. In fact, she's showing us how much she's grown.
And her patience.
And 500 years have passed.
Yeah.
Compare that to Rey. And the vast difference where suddenly that man never existed. Suddenly she's regressing completely. She's acting like a child. She's learned nothing. She's, in fact, you know, lost everything that she had gained as lessons.
I need someone to tell me how someone, you know, we know they're the dyad. How can someone live with half of their soul? Like, I don't understand that with Rey. Here, it's a little different because obviously they choose to be together. They're not like, I don't think this world has soulmates, so it's a bit different, sure. But like the difference between the two for sure here.
Yeah. I really want to emphasize, it's not about the men. It's about the female character and how she is portrayed at the end when she's missing that part of her, you know, and one of them has learned from it and is, you know, going through life and, you know, not acting as if it never happened, as if she never felt sad about it or whatnot. And then the other one is in complete denial, character regression, no longer acting like herself, and the men never existed. So that's all I wanted to point out. Anyways, what I wanted to get to is I was quite sad that, so when Lan Hua basically recultivates, if you will, into life, you know, when she when she died and then comes back to life again, they kind of make a big deal out of it, as they should, you know, like that whole scene where like the petals start floating and like Shinsong is like collecting morning dew, and he looks up and he sees the petals and he starts running, and like it's very romantic and beautiful and has the impact that it should. He literally appears, no like fanfare, no nothing, no like nothing special, no like real music really, and he's just like, I'm back.
He appears like off screen, and then he says, I'm back. But okay, I'm going back to TROS. At least like his last words were not ow, you know?
True. But his first words were, I'm back, which is not great.
I'll take it, you know? Like, I'm back.
But like, you know what I mean? Like, he died. Like, he made the ultimate sacrifice, and this is his moment of like resurrection, like coming back, starting over, rebirth, literally, and it's not giving any kind of impact. I was really sad. I was like, where's my music?
Because they were running out of time.
Where's the tears? Like, cut out some of Ron Howe's storyline and give me more of this.
Yeah, like, we didn't need all of that. We didn't need to see the flashbacks again of like when he was a kid. Like, we didn't need that.
Or the 8 billion times he fucking plays the instrument.
The damn flute. I was like, I don't need to see the damn flute again. Please take it away. Stop.
Remember when I was like, I really liked the sound of it. It was beautiful. Like,
I was over
so
it.
Fucking tired of it by the end. I was like, take it away from the men. And it's the same song. Like, at least play something different.
And like, we can tell you're not playing the flute. Like, you're not even breathing in at the right time. You're not even like pressing the little holes at the right time. Like, let's just be honest.
That's it. We've reached the end of our love between fairy and devil journey.
Overall, did you both love it?
Yeah.
Overall, yeah.
Yeah. No, I loved it.
I did too. Yeah. I will cherish this for a very long time. As I said many times before, it gave me a lot of the things that I craved. It healed things that I didn't know I still needed to heal. It provided, just what I needed to see, to hear, to see a woman go through, you know, a proper heroine journey where she's respected, her desires are respected, they're not overlooked. She's given everything she wants. She can have the men that she wants, even if he's a villain. And yeah.
I mean, the difference here is the importance of the female gaze, whereas, which we already established, TROS did not have that. It lacked that severely. So yeah, it's just showing the power of the female gaze.
Yeah.
And
so I have a question for you guys. Are you guys, because you guys were both new to cultivation, xianxia, C-dramas, are you gonna watch more?
yeah, I'd be down.
Yeah, I think I am.
It's just like, it's really hard to follow, but I feel like now that I've watched one, I might be able to grasp it a lot sooner.
You just have to go in expecting you're gonna be confused, and then you'll figure it out.
Okay.
That's it.
No, I was gonna say that someone sent me Rex. I'm trying to go back to see.
Ooh, I'm always down.
I mean, I have a whole list if you want mine.
So one of them is called Legend of, I don't even know how to pronounce this. Fuyao? Fuyao. That's one. Eternal Love. And then Goodbye My Princess.
Ashes of Love too, I imagine.
Oh yeah, she just sent those 3.
Seff is interested in Love Like the Galaxy.
Yes. And that one that you sent us, the trailer where like she has to kill him. I want to see that.
Yeah.
That's not cultivation though.
That's called The Longest Promise. That's an upcoming one. It's not out yet. Dylan Wang is in another one called Mr. Dragon. He's a dragon in that one.
Oh.
Yeah, dragon.
And he has white hair in that one as well.
Oh.
Love You Seven Times is the one from this same author that's releasing soon, hopefully.
Love You Seven Times. Is that like 7 reincarnations?
Yeah, 7 lifetimes. Yeah.
Ooh.
And then my man, what's his name? Zhang Linghe, the guy that plays Zhang Hong.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so excited, guys, for Story of, and I'm gonna butcher this, Cunning Palace. Not sure about that.
Cunning Palace, yeah.
It looks so angsty and good. Like, I think he's like low-key a bad guy in that one, and like it looks so good on him when he's like acting a little like. Anyways, so yeah, those are some of the ones that I'm looking forward to. Of course, Eternal Faith and Immortality as well, but we've talked about them before, so I'm not gonna repeat. Hopefully, you enjoyed this whole journey.
Our little
with
rant,
us.
you know.
Yeah. Hopefully, I don't know. It was somewhat interesting. We managed to narrow it down to 5 parts, which we did 36 episodes, guys. I just have to say.
And I think it's amazing. I mean, like, obviously you're past this now, Marge, where like you think TV is like so daunting, like you can finish things so quickly now. So I just like I want to appreciate
that I did this,
you finishing this show as quickly as you did.
Yeah, or just watching a show, period. I'm a changed woman.
You are.
So thanks for that. Thanks for noticing that and appreciating that. I appreciate that you appreciate. Thanks. But yeah, so see drama on the podcast, hopefully not the last one. But as always, if you have any final thoughts of your own that you would like to share with us, you can find us online on Twitter. It's the RTM Pod. Instagram is Romancing the Monsters Podcast. Gmail is romancingthemonsterspodcast@gmail.com. TikTok, Romancing the Monsters Pod, and YouTube, you can just search for the name of our podcast and you should be able to find it. And if you're looking for me specifically, I'm on both Twitter and Instagram @FrozenLovers. And as I said, if you're looking for the comparison video that I made, it should be somewhere on my Twitter timeline. So there we go.
And you can find me on both Twitter and Instagram @ButThisBook.
And you can find me, Seff, on both Instagram and Twitter @ProsClose.
We'll see you next week, guys.
Bye.